Everybody was bemused by what had happened in this woman's delivery room. Everybody was bemused by what had happened in this woman's delivery room. You can prepare your body and mind for pregnancy both physically and emotionally for years, yeah. When this magic happens, small you can do is expect the unexpected. When a Michigan couple Matt and Nicole season or gave birth to their first child, they weren't the only ones that were shocked by what occurred in the delivery. The doctors were simply the news by what they'd seen after the surgery. September of 2017 was definitely a special and remarkable month for Matt and Nicole. When Nicole found out she was pregnant and expecting her first child, she was on 7. Having bought a future mom didn't want to just bring the news on her husband instead. She wanted to capture this charming moment in this specific and creative way. Yet the woman had no idea they would be taken by such a big surprise 9 months later. Even if you're trying to make a baby for years, seeing 2 lines on a pregnancy test is literally an unforgettable moment. Nicole was walking on air when she knew she was expecting a baby and one of her beloved man to experience the same emotions. This is my first pregnancy, and it was all new to Nicole, revealed to ABC's WZZM13. The woman decided to surprise her husband on Labor Day weekend in Bottom. A little surprised. The couple met online 12 years ago, and since that time we've deeply loved each other. Nicole couldn't wait to share this exciting news with Matt and give him a surprise gift. She gave me a shirt that said "World's Greatest Father," and that's how I found out, Matt happily shared with ABC's WZZM13 House Week. As you can imagine, that Labor Day weekend became a life-changing moment for both of them, and this was just the first surprise of many they had. Again, seemingly Nicole found out about her pregnancy quite late. Due date was 1/30/2018, so the two had only 5 months to get prepared to welcome a newborn to their home. In a while it was holiday season and Matt and Nicole along with their families had a lot of fun that December. There were just a few more weeks until Nicole and Matt would become happy parents. Planned to buy a lot of new stuff for their child, a baby grand, a baby seat and some charming baby clone. Yet those things weren't the only ones the couple had made sure to be prepared for. Time was taking. Mother due date was getting closer and closer. The couple decided to stay away from doctors and hospitals as much as possible and have a natural birth in their own home. A midwife went to help them on the delivery day, and during all the process on the week of Christmas, Nicole started to feel bad. The goal of the flu for 3 days, so she hadn't eaten anything or really slept since Sunday, and shared on Facebook she was fatigued, dealing out of sorts. Yet the main thing that bothered her the most was really bad stomach pains. A few days later, on Friday night, she finally figured out what exactly was going on. My beautiful pregnant wife Nicole season or woke me up on Friday early morning at 12:30 a.m. to tell me her water broke. Yes, that was 4.5 weeks early, as we were due on January 30th. So we called our midwife. Matt wrote on his Facebook page in the middle of Friday night, Nicole's wonder had broken, which meant only one thing: the stomach pains that have been lasting for the past 2 days were actually the contractions. Since the woman was barely at 36 weeks, the couple went to the hospital as it was going dangerous to stay at home. We decided to go to Gerber Hospital in Fremont because they work well with our midwife and think more on the natural side of things. Matt further sent, "You may read hundreds of books and watch millions of videos, but you'll never really be prepared for having kids, the most touchy and risky part of the pregnancy, the birth itself. Sometimes your body knows better what you need and does what it needs to do, despite all the plans you might have mapped out." Same happened to Nicole and Matt. Despite their birth plan, the couple would quickly realize how true the phrase "everything happens for a reason" really is. The hospital, which would follow their personal desire to do things as naturally as possible, was far away from them. Well, the Midwestern midnight winter weather wasn't definitely on their side. Matt revealed on his Facebook post, "Mine don't know who remembers Thursday night into Friday, but along the lake shore was a complete blizzard zone. First, I had to snow blowing the driveway because we've got 10 inches of snow, and then we drove 2 o'clock hours to Vermont in a blizzard." Even though the couple had to face a lot of challenges that night, there was still some good news heading their way. The couple got to the hospital around 3:30 to 4 a.m., and Nicole's contractions started to become stronger and painful. The local, your very close person to Nicole and man worked at the same place there. So 7 a.m. comes around, the Nicole's brother Raymond walks in because he's filling in for 77 shift at the hospital. So right then we knew we were at the right place, especially since he never works a Kurt typically downtown. GR man happily revealed. Yet Nicole's brother wasn't the only familiar face to work to Gerber Hospital that day. There was one more family member that was working the hospital overnight. When Nicole Ronnie is white, families in nursing Gerber, and she's working the 77 night shift, and sure enough she was our nurse for the whole night. Even though the couple trying to get to the hospital as soon as possible when Nicole's water broke, it didn't mean the baby was ready to come out. In the hospital the contractions got more painful, yet Nicole dilated really slow. She hadn't truly relaxed for 4 days at that point. Moreover, she was also in agonizing labor pain for hours, which made her change her decision to do it all naturally. The future mom finally opted for pain medication in an epidural in the hope that it would help speed up the whole process. The medical professionals did their best to make sure this birth was as natural as possible. They try not to use any type of scans or tests to check up on the baby, but Nicole allowed for an ultrasound, and fortunately the baby was okay, at least as far as they knew. Thankfully the epidural helped Nicole with the pain in her contractions. Because the pain gone unbearable, Nicole pushed for another 2.500 hours after the epidural, and the baby decided to start showing signs of stress for the first time. So at this point Colin and I are exhausted, ready to do whatever is necessary to get the baby out, so the doctor used a vacuum, because the higher heart rate not explained, unbelievable. But it was just the beginning. Just imagine for a second what challenges the couple had to go through. Firstly, Nicole's wonder had broken a month earlier than they expected. Then, instead of natural birth at home, as they planned, the two drove 2 o'clock hours in the midnight storm to the hospital. What's more, Nicole suffered through endless hours of labor. But no worries, all their efforts were paid off. Nicole and Matt were about to become the happiest parents in the world. The couple arrived in hospital on Friday in the middle of the night at 10:06 p.m. On Saturday they met their first child in danger, Blakely Fate December, definitely a unique and awesome name. The little baby weighed just 4 pounds and 4 ounces, and the couple was about to find the reason that my wife was an absolute trooper. I'm so proud of her for what she went through and how she dealt with the pain and everything, and I thank the entire staff at Gerber for all they did for us. They were great, man proudly shared on his Facebook page. But running before Nicole was prepared to finally breathe out, it was still one more challenge left. Once the woman gave birth to our little daughter comes to dress and started working on the placenta to make some minor stitches. But the medical team noticed something absolutely incredible. There was something different awaiting all of them. What was going on? Dr. Megan Freshie, Nicole's doctor, shared with WZZM13. I reached in to check the patient and realized there was a head cut off. Amber, one surprise. There was still another baby inside. We thought Dr. Freshie was joking, and she was like, I don't lie about these things, Nicole explained to WZZM13. So when they turned down, the family was expecting twins all that time, and it was time to prepare for second delivery. The couple's family didn't know what was going on. Since they were outside the delivery room, they started worrying as they saw people coming and going from it. Matt further wrote on his Facebook post, the entire floor of the hospital was in our room. It was packed, just making sure everything was gonna be okay. It was crazy. Nicole, thinking she was done, has to push again, and no reputable had worn off. Your back pain was awful. But she did it, man explained in this post at 11:05 p.m. Almost an hour after Blakely Faith was born, Nicole gave birth to our son Cade Matthew. Cade weighed 5 pounds, which meant that together they weighed like a normal child. So how was it possible the couple didn't know they had twins? The reason for that was they tried to keep medical checkups at a minimum, but how did they notice it during the ultrasound? It was just a shell shocker, because no one was expecting it. Everyone in the room felt they'd seen a ghost, Nicole shared with WZZM13. The baby Cade decided to play a little game of hide and seek. When the doctors were doing the ultrasound, he literally hid behind his sister, which is why nobody knew he was even there. Well, everybody was in shock and all. Because of this wonderful situation, the doctors needed to focus on baby Cade, Matt wrote in his post, since he was pushed out so quickly and never had contractions. Really, his lungs and fluid in his lungs didn't come out as good as his sister's. Even though the babies were born a month premature, I think we're both healthy and ready to be taken home within a week. My first on after delivering the second baby. Oh crap, we need a second trip, a second car seat, a second everything, Nicole confessed with WZZM13. Matt said, we just had no thoughts there was going to be another chop. Morrow houses prep for just one. Firstly, they started worrying about how they were gonna take care of the two cans month. These thoughts quickly changed once the parents actually selling how their new twin babies. This has been one of the best days of my life, and also one of the biggest emotional roller coasters I've ever been on, Matt wrote in this post. The new parents decided to tell the news to their family in the same ways they were surprised they had one baby under the blanket with mom on a call. When everybody gathered in their room along with some hospital staff, when Nicole opened up with a second baby in her hands, and everyone was in shock and couldn't believe their own lies instead of one new family member. Thank God, do amazing. Twins are a truly unique phenomenon. Matt and Nicole now can't imagine their life without these two angels. But the most important lesson they've learned from this story was that everything definitely happens for a reason, and that reason is for your benefit. Who knows what would have happened if Nicole had a whole birth? Even though I'm more of a natural person, things happen for reasons, and there are definitely times for medical intervention, and this was one of those times. Matt review.